Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I am Sam Nifty Delaney. So what?
Having a bit of a fiddle with your phone
Just
there.
having a bit of a fiddle with my phone. There you
Just
go.
having a bit fiddle about there.
All fiddled up.
Before we go any further, Sam, I need to turn our attentions to the Prediction League.
Oh, yeah. I spotted a
as
little
you
something
may-
in the prediction league, yeah.
Yeah. Result Spot just got 2 points at the weekend. I also got 2 points at the weekend. You, however, scored 9 points at
Wow.
the weekend. Fulham 1, Aston Villa 2,
Correct score.
Birmingham 2, Sunderland 1,
Correct score.
and Newcastle 2, Bournemouth 2.
That was the one I spotted. Fucking hell. What a fucking prediction. That's got to
don't
be
know.
up for prediction of the season.
It'll be in the shortlist, but I think all the ones in the shortlist will be yours. Because some of the stuff you've pulled out recently, it's been world class. It's like watching Ronnie O'Sullivan at
Yeah.
the snooker table.
But it's the way that for a while I got off to a slow start and now something's just fucking clicked.
Yeah. The odds have shortened now. You are now 5-4 favourite to win the league.
What I did was I let the rain. I released the reins. Is that what you call it? You know, what do you call? What's that phrase?
Released the handbrake.
Release the handbrake. I released the handbrake on my predicting. Yeah,
Yeah, you did. And I think you went back to the pure predicting.
I did.
The instinctive predicting.
Total
It served you so
predicting.
well in the past. Yeah.
Total predicting. Where you're playing as much with your gut as with your brain.
I think you're down to practicing for about an hour a day now, whereas it used to be like 5 or 6 hours, didn't it?
I was overtraining, and when it came to predictions on Friday, I was often exhausted.
You were getting... it's a word that's been used a lot on this podcast or about this podcast. You're becoming jaded.
I was
basically.
becoming jaded. I was becoming
falling out of love with
exhausted.
predicting.
The thing is, I just wasn't enjoying my predicting. Not like I was 2-3 years ago. And now I've just rediscovered a love of it. And the predictions are flowing. They just come from me. You know when great songwriters say, you know, you don't act, sometimes songs just land out of nowhere, and you are not the songwriter that the universe has provided the song. You are simply the person tasked by the universe with presenting it.
You're a conduit.
I'm a conduit for the universe. And I don't say something like that lightly, but that is what I am. And I'm actually going to change my Twitter bio to that.
Have you been called a conduit much over the years?
Don't think so, but sometimes you can mishear. People shout things in the street.
Yeah. And you think, oh, conduit, eh?
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah. So there we go. You're now 2 points behind Result Spot.
I am excited and thrilled by this. Yeah.
Result Spot on 82. You're on 80. I'm on 72. And
too bad I didn't get the big score is if you get your own team right, and that's always the best feeling. But I probably predicted that we would beat Nottingham Forest, but of course Nottingham Forest, and that's really my Achilles heel. If I look back to the season I won, I think I've only won this one season out of however many 6 years we've been doing it, and I think that might have been a season in which I was willing to predict defeats for West Ham.
yeah.
And I need to get back
remember
to that.
you asked for Result Spot's team to be taken from Millwall because you were finding it hard to accurately predict. Millwall were doing quite well in the
And
Championship.
I could only predict Millwall defeats, and I could only predict West Ham wins. If you do that, then you're basically putting yourself at a disadvantage right from the get go.
You had what's been called in the predicting community as a hissy fit about that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
and then we replaced them with Frank Lampard's, whichever team Frank Lampard was managing at the time.
Yeah,
and now of course it's Newcastle.
Now it's Newcastle, and Newcastle in particular have served me well. I've got some good Newcastle predictions in the bag this year. But West Ham are probably the thing. I reckon I could be leading if I'd predicted what I'd actually thought, as opposed to what I was emotionally.
What you wanted.
Yeah, what I wanted, exactly. But that's going to change now because I mean,
it has to. You've got to go up a gear.
And
still.
I've got to go up a gear. And also, I mean, the way I feel about West Ham, they don't deserve me to want them to win.
I mean, I predicted Sunderland to lose 2-0 at Birmingham yesterday, and it was 2-1 in the end. We had a goal gifted to us, to be honest, which I'm angry about. I'm angry that we scored that goal because we should never have scored it.
Know what you mean?
It was some of this passing around at the back by Birmingham.
Yeah.
And Jack Clark nipped in and just took it and put it past the keeper. So, to me, a 2-0 prediction is...
So you're saying you should get all the points?
Yeah, I'm saying I should get 6 points for that, really.
I don't think that's fair. I mean, I feel for you, but I don't think that would be fair, no.
Yeah, I'm angry. Well, you went 2-1. You were absolutely correct. We had a good first half. It was 1-0 to us at half-time. And then within 3 or 4 minutes of the second half, it was quite obvious what would happen and how it would pan out.
Tony Mowbray, I mean, that's the kicker, isn't it? The manager that they got rid of, who they shouldn't have got rid of either. He's the only good manager you've had in the last... since we've been doing this. Pretty much.
No, we had Alex Neil who got us promoted.
Alex Neil, but then
he fucked off.
He fucked off because, he was too good.
No, he fucked off because the ownership of the club are a bunch of clowns.
Yeah.
And they weren't prepared to invest properly, and they're still not. But there you go. Anyway, you went to Nottingham yesterday.
Oh, what a terrible...
Was that fun?
Terrible. No, it was not fun in the least.
None of it. Not even the journey there and back.
The journey there was okay in as much as it was... I was happy with it from a logistical point of view.
Was it road or rail?
Road. I picked up my friend from his house at 10 o'clock, prompt. So I was pleased with that. And I don't know about you, but when I've got certain friends in the car, I plan the playlist for them, around them.
Oh, that's nice.
I do that with certain friends. I mean, I wouldn't listen to music that I actively dislike, but with certain friends who have narrow tastes, for example...
You find a common ground, do you?
I just think I'll play something that I know they like and that'll keep them happy. Like you do with your kids when they're small. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I only want to listen to Madness. Or my daughter, when she was ready to listen, I only wanted to listen to first Blondie, then Destiny's Child. That's fine. But just put that on, because if not, there'll be trouble. So I put on History Club Classics 80s, 90s for this friend. And he sat beside me and guzzled his way through 4 large cans of Peroni and a large bottle of Estrella, is it called?
Yeah.
So strong continental lagers, round about, not breakfast time, I would call it brunch time. It was brunch drinking. And
had he had something to eat beforehand? It wasn't on his stomach, was it?
We stopped. He'd made himself a sandwich, which I was well impressed by.
Okay.
So he munched a sandwich.
Picnic.
He had the sandwich in Northampton Services. And I had not brought anything with me, so I bought myself a Leon. There are these Leons at all the services now.
They are. There's quite a few around. What's your feelings on Northampton Services? I've not been there before.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's a Leon. I think there's an M&S. There's a Smith's, a Costa, and McDonald's. I think that's like...
That's not bad. Something for everyone there.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then on the way back, I stopped at Watford Gap, which I think is the same company, Road Chef, and that was the same lineup. So I actually had 2 Leons. That was my meals yesterday. I had one on the way there and one on the way back.
That feels a bit much.
Yeah, it was too much. I didn't feel good.
Rich.
It was
Not
too much, and I was just like, anyway, the way there was fine because we got there in 2.5 hours. Great, parked up in the same car park I use when we play the Glee Club in Nottingham, which we do from time to time. I use the same car park that I always use. I went to a bar not far from the Glee Club. Met a mate of my mates who lives up there in Nottingham, so that was quite nice. But then we got to the game, and it's almost as soon as I walked in, I just thought, I'm not feeling this. I got very tired. It's a long day out if you've been driving. And if you're sat... I mean, I don't mind people drinking around me in the least. But if you're sat in a car for a long journey and someone's drinking, heavily, that amount, that's power drinking, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 5 cans on them before lunch. That's sort of power drinking. And so it gets a bit, noisy, repetitive... aggressive at times. And that's
at times there were tears.
Yeah, there was a full gamut of emotions, and I was trying to concentrate on the M1.
There was an attempt at a hug. that was unwelcome.
He both tried to fight me and cuddle me at various times.
At 11:25 a.m.
Yeah, but then I got there, and I think I just got a crash physically and emotionally almost the moment I got inside the City Ground. And like you say about Sunderland Birmingham, I was like, it was immediately apparent to me what was going to happen. I was like, oh, I see. You know, we got beat 6-0 last week, and you're waiting for a reaction, aren't you? But I saw it, and I thought, oh, I see. There's not going to be a reaction.
Was that even just in the team selection itself before it started?
The team selection
once it kicked off?
Was, well, I mean, not to get too tactical, and at the end of the day, what do I know? But if you've been
board.
if you've been beaten 3-0, then 6-0 2 weeks running, why would you pick a completely unchanged defence? That doesn't make any sense. They've shipped 9 goals in 2 games. Last week we conceded 6 at home, and not a single defender was changed. And we've got other good defenders sitting on the bench. So I thought, well, this doesn't look good. Anyway, needless to say, we lost. It was a tedious game. There was a toxic atmosphere because obviously, understandably, West Ham fans are getting. You forget how everyone at an away game is 20 times more pissed and coked up than they are at a home game, right? So that adds to like a certain atmosphere that can feel a bit oppressive if you're not right in the mood. Do you know what I mean?
Which you clearly weren't.
I wasn't in the mood, and I was just like, okay. So we left a few minutes early because it was quite a long way back to the car park. But we stopped off, and he had another pint, and then the way back, and then it was like
I need another pint.
It was there was torrential rain, Andy. When we hit the M1 home, the rain was biblical. So I was having to drive in the slow lane, like pretty slow, because you couldn't see more than like a few feet in front of you, right? It was treacherous. And he wanted us to pull over. He wanted us to go to find some country pub to have a dinner.
Just next to the M1.
Well, you know, like where you pull off and you go.
Yeah.
You know, well, remember one time when we met up to do our writing in Hucknall, in Nottingham, I actually stayed in Northampton halfway back because I couldn't be fucked driving home. And I actually did, and that's halfway. So I did know a place, but I couldn't face it by this stage. I said, look, I've got to get home, which actually I did because I thought I might need to pick up. My daughter was out at a party, and I'd said, if I'm back in time, I'll pick you up. Mm-hmm. But the journey home, right, was 4.5 hours long.
Jesus Christ,
it's taken like 2.5 on the way there, right?
Fucking hell.
And it was rainy, it was slow, and I'd lost count how many beers he'd had. So it was fine. I mean, I don't mind my mate being drunk because he's, you know, if I did, I wouldn't go to an away game with him. But 4.5 hours is a long time, you know. There was someone kept farting in the City Ground near to us, right? And it was disgusting. And I said at one point in the second half, the next time that happens, I'm leaving. I'm going home. That's the sort of mood I was in, right?
Yeah.
It was disgusting, Andy. Like you're there, you're watching your team lose. It's cold. It's rainy. You know you've got a long journey home, and someone keeps like releasing the most toxic, disgusting odours into the air right next to it.
It's not on, is it?
So I said to my mate, if that happens once more, we're going. And he was obsessed with identifying the culprit. And I was like, listen.
How do you do that?
I said,
you can't do that.
First of all, how can you do it? Second of all, end of the day, what's it matter? What are you going to do? Even if you could prove it with someone, right?
Confront him.
What are you going to do? Confront him? Tell him that he has to stop?
Stick a cork up his arse?
Make him stop?
What do you do?
Make him leave? No.
You can't.
You know, you don't know. He might have an illness. Do you know what I mean? He's not necessarily doing it on purpose, he or she, because in the end, my mate was convinced it was this woman, right? And I don't know what convinced him that it was her, but he was certain it was her. He said a lot of it was to do with her hairstyle. I don't know what that has to do with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, she did seem a convincing culprit, but there was no way of proving it. So then we left.
Hell.
We did leave early because he or she did drop another one, and I was like, I've had enough of this. Phillips had just been sent off, right?
Yeah.
We're going. So we leave, and then in the car, about 2 hours into the journey, we get a whiff again. Another smell. Not the same smell, but nevertheless a disgusting smell in the car. So I've said to him, mate, I'm like losing it by this stage, right? I just want to, you know, when all you want to do is be at home. My back, I've got bad back.
I do.
And you know, you're sitting in the car with a bad back, it gets worse, doesn't it, right? And I was like, mate, there is someone's farted again, and there's only two of us here at this stage, and I can tell you, I'm swearing on my life here, it wasn't me. And he went, well, I'm swearing on my life it wasn't me. He said, so I'm sat here thinking, I know it wasn't me, so it must have been him in the ground as well. And I went, well, that's what I'm thinking about you. And he was like, well, we're at an impasse then.
This is huge.
It's huge.
This is just like a psychological standoff. As well as an anal standoff.
I said, all I know is, I said, this isn't about me thinking you're a bad person or a dishonest person. It's only about the fact that I know factually that wasn't me. I know my own arse.
Yeah. So therefore I know that it was you.
So it has to be you. But he swore
and
blind.
You're the one who hasn't had 7 pints at this point.
That's true. I didn't bring that up. That would have been a cheap shot, but it would have been fair evidence.
It's a factor, though.
It's
definitely a factor.
And in the end, we both agreed to agree, and I still don't know, this might be true. We both had to agree, because if not, who knows what would happen. It might have ended up with me kicking him out on the hard shoulder on the M1. We had to agree, and you'll have all experienced this, that it was a smell from outside the car, perhaps a farm we were passing.
The nearby farm.
And it had wafted in through the ventilation system.
It happens.
We've all had that conversation, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've all used that as a sort of a compromise in a diplomatic standoff. We've all, in the end, we've gone, listen, do you swear? I said, do you swear? Right? I said, I've known you a long time. Do you swear? Because I would tell you, I said, because at the end of the day, what would I have to lose? And he went, I swear to you, mate. And I said, okay, so basically it's it's a third party. And he went, yeah. And then there was quite a lot of quiet in the car for about the next hour after that.
Do you think it might have been the ghost of Her Majesty the Queen? Who has visited us before? Let's be honest.
She was a West Ham fan. Maybe she was trying to fucking communicate her dissatisfaction. And if she was, I'd say, well, Mum, I quite understand the way you feel and I can relate, but I would advise you to fart in the fucking vicinity of David Moyes or David Sullivan, not me, because I'm in the same boat as you. In fact, worse, because I'm the cunt who's still alive. At least you're dead.
Yeah. I've got no beef with
where
Sullivan.
You are, you can probably watch football involving Maradona, Pele, George Best, Cruyff, Beckenbauer and Bobby Charlton every fucking day of the week.
Yeah. I've got no beef with Sullivan, but you've been fucking bad-mouthing me on your podcast for years now. And it's time for some payback.
Well, listen, Your Majesty, I'm sorry if I've upset you, but in recent times, especially since your sad passing over to the other side, Andy and I have actually been quite fair about you. So, well, I've been listening to the older episodes because I'll be fucked if I'm subscribing to IFS. Well, okay. But if you did subscribe using your heaven pounds, then you would know that on more recent episodes, we have actually been speaking very positively and quite a lot about how much we miss you. So think on. Fine, well, I'll probably get round to those in 6 months, but I'm not fucking paying. Well, I would have thought with your heavenly powers, you might be able to fucking hack into the Patreon and listen to that stuff for free. No, you can't, actually. I've tried.
Oh, I thought I would assume in heaven you get all subscription podcasts for free.
Yeah. Funny enough, you
one subscription that God's got.
She said, you get Apple TV, you get Disney, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Paramount Plus. But that comes as part of the package with Sky. You get all of that, but you do not get BBC. You don't get certain BBC iPlayer shows because of
You don't get
geo-lock.
Discovery Plus.
Yeah, that's geo-locked. BBC stuff's geo-locked because Heaven isn't technically Britain. And you do not get access to anyone's independent podcast Patreon content because they're independent content makers who Heaven/God have yet to be able to do individual deals with. I was like, right, okay, good to know.
But you've just farted in my car, so what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, I fucking have as well.
Jalapeño.
Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you wouldn't be hearing this brief but annoying message if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that'll get right on your tits.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Jalapeño. Jalapeño.
I received some interesting texts from my daughter last night, very late on,
Yeah.
like post midnight, about one of her friends has tapped into the world of royal conspiracies. And there's a big conspiracy theory going around at the minute about Princess Kate
Yeah.
and Prince William.
I'm listening.
Because I'm listening. Because she hasn't been, she went into hospital
Yeah.
a month, 6 weeks ago or so for surgery, and I believe she hasn't been seen since.
She's dead.
Well, I'll just go on to the text and I'll read out what I was told last
Okay.
night. I might have to miss some of it out for legal reasons, but I'll here we go. Oh my god, it was a long conversation. Yeah, in the past half hour, my friend, who I won't name, has gotten really into a conspiracy theory that Prince William is either murdered or is holding Kate Middleton hostage.
Wonderful.
My reply was, yes, exclamation mark.
I'm immediately on board.
Yeah. I was very tired and ready for bed. This was 0036 when she sent this. They think, the conspiracy theorists, they think he has beaten her into a coma in a drunken rage.
Actually, we shouldn't laugh. That's awful. But anyway, go on.
I replied, well, this is conspiracy
Yeah,
theorists,
it's
isn't it?
I'm laughing at the
replied,
conspiracy, not the alleged crime.
I replied, amazing. She says there are no pictures of her leaving the palace, and he is looking thin.
Well, weird.
Prince William is looking thin. What is
Well,
is
he
he not getting
exhausted
fed?
himself so much whilst beating into a coma that he burnt lots of fat.
Either that or he's not eating because she's in the coma and she does all the dinners.
Oh,
So this is where we're really getting into the stuff that's on the forums, right?
Yeah.
It apparently all began when he was at uni and he was hit in the head with a golf club,
great.
which damaged his prefrontal cortex, which controls impulses.
Right. Okay.
And some believe she has had a forced hysterectomy.
Right.
She has not been seen since Christmas Day, and the estate says that she will not return for another 9 months. I said, well, I love this. This is sporting injury parlance. It's like she's going to be in light training in 7 months and then do a couple of warm-up
We've got her running
engagements.
on grass, which is a big step.
She's on the grass again.
But
And then
in
she'll be
terms
back
of that
full-time in 9
sharpness,
months.
she's months off.
And I said, why is he thin? Is it guilt? She says, alcoholism, I believe. She says, the conspiracy theorists aren't clear on why the thinness is important. She says, I think it's like when movie characters get thin, when things get bad.
Yeah. They often also stop shaving. Like, that's another sign. If he grows any stubble, then you know it's fucking definitely this is going on.
Like Arthur Fowler in the Christmas tree and EastEnders with the Christmas
I'm
Club
a big fan of, as I've mentioned before, of Grey's Anatomy, which I watch with my daughter, and the Derek Shepherd, who is the main character in the early series. You always know he's a world-class brain surgeon, Andy, but he also, like all surgeons, has his demons, and when his demons visit, he immediately, almost within seconds, grows 5 days worth of stubble. And then he always retreats to his trailer in the woods and just gets pissed on cans. It's really good.
Right. There was a good thing the other day. What have you seen that? Clickhole, which is the
Brilliant.
the Onions offshoot thing.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a Grey's thing on it, wasn't there?
Yeah, 4 classic Grey's Anatomy episodes where all the doctors agree the appendix is where the soul is housed, and anyone who has theirs removed is no longer truly human.
Lovely.
Anyway, back to the royal conspiracy. I said Harry will leak it all, surely. She says, yes, that's what they are saying. The estate is worried that Harry will leak it.
Because he's here. He's flown over and
yeah,
he's
he's back.
investigating.
He's back.
I'm here.
Something.
I'm here to do a bit of poking around.
Something about she's having reconstructive facial surgery due to William beating her senseless.
Oh.
Some believe that William's head injury, the golf club thing from uni, is being spread around now so that when it's leaked that he has beaten Kate, the public will pity him.
Weird. No, they won't.
And she thinks that he's thin because he's doing drugs. And there was also, what was it? There was a thing the other day. There was a Sky News thing where he'd returned to duties after Charles had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was swaying backwards and forwards. He was standing at a ceremony thing, and he was swaying backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
For 45
William
seconds. William was, yeah, which ties in with the theory that he's on drugs. And
Well,
that's how he's
it's
thin.
swaying a sign of
Well, if you're on drugs and you've got to stand still for a bit, you're going to sway, aren't you?
Do sway, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't help yourself. You don't
it
want to
doesn't look-
sway because you think it'll give you one,
Can't
but you
help
just
it.
go. You've got no
You have
control
to.
over the swaying.
And the more you think about it, the more you sway.
The
Because
more
you're just
you're
trying to keep
swaying.
yourself still, but you can't because you're on drugs.
Yeah, drug
I don't know
sway
what
they
drugs
call
he's
it.
on.
Doesn't
I don't know
matter.
what drugs he's actually
Any
on.
drug can
That
make you
hasn't been-
sway if you take it enough times.
And he doesn't look particularly thin on the footage, but that's part of this conspiracy.
Well-
maybe he's bulked up with a fat suit or something.
If it's true that she went in, I do remember her going in for surgery because even before the king got cancer, there was a lot of stories saying that because he'd gone in to have his prostate checked, that's how they found the cancer, and
Yeah.
they said he went in for that and she went in for some routine surgery, as they claimed it was at the same time. And already some of the papers were saying the royals in crisis. But at the time, all it was 2 routine things. But
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, one thing's all this stuff about him being on drugs or beating her, that's, if you put that aside, we don't know whether that's true or not. But if she went in for surgery and hasn't been seen since, that is legitimately, that's conspiracy theory or not, that is weird. That is weird, mate.
And and she says they're worried they'll have to remove William. I don't know what that means, remove. And the royal family will only survive through Harry, who seems unwilling to pledge his loyalty.
But who's?
But I've said
is Harry not in
doesn't
line
get
to
it.
the? Has he been removed
No.
from the line of?
He's not in the line because it's the little kid who looks like a businessman.
The business kid.
The business kid. He will get
Arise!
it next.
Arise, business kid. The new
The
king.
one who's got a problem.
Arise, king, business kid.
The little guy with the fucking attitude problem. He
like
would be
him.
next. Yeah, that's what I said to my daughter. I said, the best thing that could happen to this country right now would be an arsey child king.
Like that.
Wouldn't
you
it?
know, like in Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, the little Indian emperor. You know the fella,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
I've heard stories about the way they behaved, and I am sorry for the way that we treated our people. You know, fucking sinister cunt. And then at the end, he
Yeah.
tries to beat up Short Round. That's what I want our king to be like.
Oh, in the film The Last Emperor, with the little guy
Yeah.
who's in charge of, I think it's China.
Yeah.
And that's great because he
And
just
that's
runs
a
around
huge
a lot.
place. That's a big undertaking for a kid.
China?
Yeah.
Massive. You'd want to start small, like Sweden or something like that,
Even
wouldn't you?
grown men like you or I would have our work cut out as emperors of
Running
China.
China.
Yeah.
Fucking no chance.
And me and you, we've been round the block a few times.
So I says the best thing that could happen will be an RC child king, but she says, but what if he's really good at it and he restores faith in the monarchy?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a problem.
I says, well, I will bow to him. It's quite simple.
He could restore.
So-
I don't mind having a monarch if they basically, if there's maybe elections where you get to choose, and if he's brilliant and we just elect him every year, fine.
Yeah, I'll be all right with it.
I'd like them
brilliant.
to have a few less houses,
Yeah.
and bit less land.
Trim off some of the fat, some of the dukes and duchesses that are in there.
Yeah, it's all
family
right
tree.
to have a monarchy, maybe, but you just don't have. They don't have to have quite so much. They don't need that much stuff, do they?
No, give them somewhere nice. I mean,
I'm not saying make them live on a fucking estate in some shithole, right? If you want them to run the country, you've got to incentivise them, but they don't have to have. I mean, they've got so much stuff, mate. It's unbelievable.
When me and my son were at the darts last year and at the Ali Pali, we stayed at Finsbury Park in the Travel Lodge and just got bus up from Finsbury Park. I noticed they were putting together a new Premier Inn in Finsbury Park.
Yeah.
And it said opening in March, and I thought, next year we might stay there. A little bit better than a Travel Lodge.
Yeah.
It's never opened, Sam. It's never fucking opened. It's still there. It's never opened. Something's going on. Put the royal family in that.
Maybe that's where Kate is.
Maybe it's where she is, but
You know
get rid of
that,
Buckingham
the
Palace. Put them in
intelligence
Finsbury
services
Park
have safe
Premier Inn.
houses, don't they?
Yeah. Well, she's got to be somewhere. She
Why
hasn't
not
just
there?
disappeared. Don't know. But
I
I
went
think we'll hear a
in
lot
Dublin
more about
last year. I went to a Travelodge Plus,
it. Right.
which is really nice. It's above. I mean, I would never say it's above Premier Inn. For me, Premier Inn is a hard hotel franchise to beat. Even if you genuinely even if you go up a notch and pay big bucks, I think that Premier Inn is just, you're going to struggle to beat it. But Travelodge Plus is fancy as fuck. There's a huge one right in the middle of Dublin.
Wow. It's the whole hotel plus. Because I know they've got some hotels where there's a plus level on the top floor.
The whole hotel is a Travelodge Plus.
The whole thing.
So if we ever do Dublin, which we probably won't, but if we ever do, I'll have my eye on that. This is how fucking stupid I am. In a moment of excitement, I think probably over Christmas when West Ham won on a run where we beat Spurs, Man U, Arsenal all in 1 month. We were riding high. We'd just qualified to the knockouts. And last year when I went to that final in Prague, it was getting your logistics sorted just after we won the semi-final was nigh on impossible. I had to do a very elaborate train journey across Europe to get to Prague. So over Christmas, me and my mates bought flights to Dublin, which is where the Europa League final is. Right.
Okay.
But we paid for flights that were refundable.
Right, good logistics.
But we did, and we booked an Airbnb, and now I feel like a right cunt.
Yeah, but is that not refundable till?
Yeah, we can refund it, but I feel like we cursed it. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit.
I've got hotels booked for the playoff.
Yeah, that's true.
final.
Actually,
Wembley.
that's true. Actually, that might have been what gave me the idea. I thought, well, what would Dawson do when I put my logistics head on, and you often book this stuff in advance, but it was the flight.
It's all refundable. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll still get there. I doubt it though. So anyway,
we'll
what are we going to do about this Kate thing? Do you feel that we could? I don't like the idea of her being held somewhere.
All we can do is just keep an eye on things and look out for clues.
I'll keep an eye out.
Act on tip-offs that we get from the listeners.
I mean, I'm away this
absolute
week.
News to me.
I'm going away, aren't I, in Guernsey? So it's going to be hard for me to, unless they could have hidden her on the island settlement of Guernsey.
Where's the last place that people would look for her?
Guernsey.
Yeah. Well, we'll just keep an eye on it and we'll update our listeners with anything that we hear. Maybe there'll be an emergency episode, I don't know. Maybe we'll need to take the temperature of the nation again from our Asda car parks at some point. Who knows? That's it then,
outside the city grounds yesterday, I've just remembered this in a second.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was walking through the car park and a policeman was coming towards me and my mate. And I thought, and we were trying to walk out a cheeky side bit, And you know, how policemen sometimes on match days can get so fucking extra. Like, do you know what I mean?
But yeah, football supporters become third-class citizens,
Yeah,
don't they?
and I thought, oh, look at this geezer steaming towards me. He's going to go, you can't go out that gate, you got to go out that gate. It makes a fucking difference to any cunt. So he came over, I went, all right, can we go out that gate? And he went, no, you got to go out that one. I went, yeah, thought so. Bit pissed off. And he went, anyway, excuse me. And he called me back. I went, what? And he went, are you Britain's best journalist? And I went, that's right, officer, well spotted, right?
Brilliant.
And I was quite pleased about that. And then as I walked up, but my mate was absolutely, he went, what did he say? I went, what did you think he said? He said, I think he said, are you Britain's best journalist? I said, yeah, that's what he said. Why did you say that? And I said,
because I am.
I said, because I am. And he could not get his head around it. And he tried to work it out, because he never listens to this podcast. On the way home, he was trying to work it out. And in the end, he had it in his head that I was secretly part of a secret sort of far-right organisation cult called Police Action Now. I went, yeah, I am, actually. I said, it's for police and other... I said, other public servants who, let's say, get it. Right. And we meet in secret, and I've become sort of like a guru figure to them.
Yeah.
And I deliver very powerful speeches about how we can fix what's going on our streets.
I could see why you wanted to get home as soon as you could.
Yes.
That's what was going on. And the fact that he's blowing off as well.
Oh, he's blowing off. He's accusing me of things. Oh, and plus as well, he the first thing he did when he got in the car was he brandished his phone at me, and on it was a screenshot of me with the words underneath, I have erectile dysfunction. And I said to him, well done, but I'm afraid that Andy Dawson beat you to that by about 2 days. I said, Andy Dawson took that screenshot within 30 seconds of me putting that video online. I said, so, ha, but you're fucking late.
I didn't put it online. I only sent it to you.
No, I know you didn't put it online.
I thought no. But I might do it now.
Well, basically, yeah, it was. I did a video talking about mental health for Calm, the charity, and unfortunately, I said in it, some people, it was about money and mental health. I said some people are more comfortable saying I've got erectile dysfunction than they are saying I can't afford to pay my mortgage. Unfortunately, I said the line I've got erectile dysfunction in isolation, with enough pause at the begin and the end of the sentence. I believe editors call that an in and an out point. That you could just click that out with the subtitle on screen and spread it. And here's another. Just lastly, this is another thing my friend wanted to do. Is there's a girl who we've both known for years, who we were like you when we were teenagers, and for some reason he said that he was going to just send it to her. Like, he hasn't spoken to her in years. He just wanted to send it to her. I said, don't you think she'll find that weird? He went, no, it's really funny. And I said, well, I was like, fine, do it. I said, but it'll be strange that she hasn't heard from you, and then the first thing she hears of you is you just sending her without comment an image of me saying that I had erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you wanted to achieve.
Was there a war for her affections back when you were teenagers?
Yeah.
And is that still bubbling away, do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously to him it is. To him it is. I'm like, I was at a stage where I was like, look, I don't have erectile dysfunction, but I'm comfortable with you or some girl we knew 30 years ago thinking that I do. I'll leave it at that.
You've got some special cream from Superdrug that makes it last longer.
Exactly.
So, who's
Let's
the
just say I did
you.
have erectile dysfunction until a few weeks ago when Superdrug intervened.
And revitalised my entire sex life. Right, that's it then. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your few days in Guernsey, Sam, working away and whatever you're going to do. And I think you're going to report back from Guernsey on Friday.
I'll be doing a live report from Guernsey on Friday.
Yeah.
But, of course, there are episodes as normal every day this week for subscribers.
That we've already done them, which means we both get a week off. Way! Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.